Yeah, thank you everyone, and thank you for the great intro. So today we want to talk about how a sustainable future of cargo transportation will look like and which trends play the biggest role in this path to decarbonization. Currently, emissions for transportation in general and logistics account for one-fifth of global CO2 emissions, of which 30% are from road freight and 11% from maritime shipping. In our daily work at Plug and Play, we always see new and, of course, more sustainable technologies emerging. Be it here at Startup Autobahn, focus on the road sector, or in our other global Plug and Play locations that focus on aviation, maritime, or supply chain. Within our trend overview, we will focus on the sectors road, air, and maritime. Each of these areas has different challenges on its path to decarbonization. For example, airplane always require lightweight solutions, be it for batteries or for more sustainable materials. Whereas big cargo ships require huge amounts of power, which then translates into different requirements when it comes to the propulsion system. Our trend report shows some overlapping areas where innovation is taking place. For example, becoming more data-driven to enable a more efficient and more sustainable supply chain. Or autonomous operations. Think of autonomous trucks or autonomous operation within ports. And of course, and probably the biggest overlapping areas are new and more sustainable propulsion systems. We want to dive now deeper into each of these areas and also focus on some similarities and also differences when it comes to different propulsion systems. And we first want to focus on the road sector with Monica.
Yes, let's first move to the first focus of our trend report, which is the road transport. What is important here is that over the last decades, the emissions from the transport sector increased by over 70%. To add more into that, road transport is the second largest polluter, just after coal-fired propulsion. These data are very sad, unfortunately, and we know that we still have a lot of work to do to make transportation more sustainable. But luckily, there are some startups that know how to do it. What we can find among our startups are, first of all, different software solutions, such as data-driven CO2 tracking or connected systems. But what is actually needed are the hardware solutions. What is needed? For instance, more lightweight battery systems and other alternative propulsion systems. Today, we're going to talk about some of them. First of all, we would like to talk about the hydrogen trucks. Typically, there are two systems how hydrogen can be used as fuel. First of all, we can have the classic fuel cells that power the electric motors. On the other hand, we can also have direct combustion of hydrogen. And that is exactly what the British startup Veritech does, is that they have very efficient combustion motors that can burn hydrogen. They also have very efficient hydrogen storage systems and energy management systems. That all together combined gives us a lighter propulsion system that the conventionally used fuel cells use in trucks. Further, what we would also like to talk about are the hybrid systems for trucks. Typically, as you know, hybrid systems consist of the combustion engine and also the electric motor with batteries. What the Ultra Motors does is that in their trucks, we can find fuel-agnostic combustion engines, meaning that they can burn sustainable fuels such as hydrogen, biomethane, or renewable natural gas. And on top of that, there's also battery systems with electric motors. That combination gives us a range of 1,300 kilometers and a very impressive life cycle of 3 million kilometers. Later, let's now move to the maritime transport.
Thank you. So when we look at maritime, we see that maritime shipping currently accounts for almost 3% of all global emissions. Currently, we see that new policies are introduced and also new technologies are emerging to decarbonize maritime shipping. Technologies that play a role for autonomous driving, which you could see in the road sector, also can play a role in the shipping industry to automate ports and thereby save CO2 emissions. And one startup example is Enride, which is also present here at our Expo event today, and is really moving this forward, this adoption. Another point is the importance of data is also rising in the shipping industry, be it for more efficient route planning, by integrating vast amounts of maritime data and also weather data to optimize route planning, like the startup DeepSea AI. Or data is also used to connect different ecosystems, like ships with ports, and thereby enable more efficient operations. Currently, also, most of the propulsion systems are based on fossil fuels. Because of that, we see some advances to focus on carbon capture directly on ships, like, for example, Seabound. But in that area, we also see advances to develop new and more sustainable propulsion systems, like hydrogen, battery, methanol, and especially ammonia. When it comes to ammonia, we can see that by 2050, it is expected that ammonia will make up the majority share in the final energy consumption in the shipping industry. The reason for that is that ammonia is currently already used in other industries, so there is experience in how to handle it and how to transport it. It can also be carbon neutral if it is produced by renewable energies. And probably the biggest advantage is that it has a very high energy density, which makes it suitable for large vessels. And this is also different compared to the road sector, where hybrid or electric trucks play a big role. Because for ships, they require a huge amount of power, so energy density plays an even more decisive role in that sector. So you can see there's a clear path to decarbonization in the shipping industry, but these new technologies still need to be implemented. And now we want to take a closer look at the aviation sector.
Yes, last but not least, we have the air cargo transport. This sector is a bit different than the previous ones, mostly because here we talk way less about ammonia. Specialists still debate whether it does make sense to use ammonia for air transport. Therefore, we have more hydrogen solutions here. What is also important, as previously Alex mentioned, is that we need lightweight solutions. That is not only lightweight materials, but also here specialists debate whether it does make sense to use batteries right now. They also emphasize how important it is to develop sustainable aviation fuel right now, and then at the same time developing batteries, but they still need more time to power huge aircraft. What is also interesting here is that in this sector we can also find some hydrogen propulsion systems. We have a couple of interesting startups. First of all, we have the French startup H3 Dynamics. What is special about them is that they not only work with Airbus, but they also have a holistic system, meaning that their propulsion system that can power drones or aircraft is based on hydrogen. But what they also provide their customers with is the technology to produce green hydrogen at a competitive price of around $1 per kilogram. The holistic approaches like that, they are very meaningful and they can drive the innovation. The other interesting startup that we would like to talk about is Hert Aerospace. That startup, they developed hybrid solutions. So again, we have the combustion part, and then we also have the electric batteries and electric motors. In their case, they are quite advanced in their technology. They focus on smaller aircraft, around 30 seaters, that can also translate to quite impressive cargo power. And what they say, like typically in that hybrid systems, the combustion engines are used for the takeoff, while the electric power is used during the cruise and landing. And in their case, what they claim is that with that double propulsion system, they can double the range of their aircraft routes, meaning that they can go from Amsterdam to Paris. And yeah, with that, we'd like to thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please reach out to us or to our colleagues from other locations. We would like to thank you for that, wish you a very interesting rest of the day. And now handing over to Hannah.